there was a guy named Cody Balmer, Balmer Balmer, who sneaked into the governor's residence. Now, how he did that is a good question, because governors have state police protection. They have all kinds of security. How on earth do you get into the governor's mansion? That remains a security question unanswered, and I think it's going to require some review to see what went wrong here. In any event, this guy was able to worm his way into the governor's mansion, and he set the whole place on fire and essentially burned it down. If you look at photos, it's kind of appalling, the degree of the damage. Fortunately, Shapiro and his family, they were in the residence, by the way. They were asleep, but the state police were able to rouse them, get them out of there, and they are safe, fortunately. And there's a whole bunch of people right away who jumped on this and were like, these are the MAGA terrorists. These MAGA terrorists need to be apprehended. And then as people began to investigate this guy, Cody Balmer, they realized, no, this is actually not the case. I've been looking at a bunch of articles from CNN. There's an article on Al Jazeera. And interestingly, these articles, what they say is that this guy, quote, hated Shapiro. And there are some of the articles that say that he didn't like Biden. Again, giving the impression that this guy must be some sort of a right-winger, some kind of a Trump supporter. But as it turns out, he's not. He's on the left. We do know that he is a big Palestine activist. And that actually makes sense, right? Because Josh Shapiro is one of the few Democrats who is pro-Israel. And strongly pro-Israel. You remember that this may have been one of the reasons why Kamala Harris decided not to bring him on board as a vice presidential candidate. She opted instead for Tim Walz. Why? Because Shapiro had this reputation of being, quote, too pro-Israel. And I think she was worried about alienating the Muslims, alienating the kind of Palestinian activists on the Democratic side. Well, evidently, this Cody Balmer guy is somebody who disliked Shapiro in part, or at least in part, on account of his being Jewish and on account of his being pro-Israel. Now, I also see a post from Tony Saruga, who says that someone has apparently done a search of Cody Balmer's phone, and his mobile devices show that he was present for 39 Kamala Harris rallies. He has been apparently present for Antifa BLM activity, pro-Hamas activity, pro-Palestinian. Well, you get the picture. If this is right, and I'm at this point, I'm not verifying this myself. I'm actually just transmitting what I'm reading. It is the idea that this guy is clearly not somebody. I think that's all I'm trying to establish here. Clearly not somebody who's coming from the pro-Trump or MAGA camp.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.